Sure. I mean, I look at sustainable finance as being, putting investment into projects that have a sustainable return. So either from an environmental perspective, a social perspective, or governance. And what I've seen over the years that I've been coming to this forum is that we've evolved from a situation where this was quite niche, and where investors were sort of saying, look, I'm not sure what a sustainable investment looks like. There's not enough information about, there's not enough tools to guide me, to the point now where it's almost becoming mainstream. And investors are all over the world looking at these projects, looking at these big sustainable schemes as not just doing good, but actually making a good return on their investment. So that's changed. I think the scope of what you can invest in has changed enormously and grown. So there's obviously a lot of focus here on clean energy, but there are also projects looking at water, waste, sustainable construction, house building, transportation, you name it. There are huge opportunities now for investors to get involved in this project.
We understand that obviously the world of finance is evolving, it's changing at the moment with blockchain technology. Obviously crypto's making more noise now as well. But in terms of traditional sources of money, banks, etc., are banking getting it when it comes to sustainable finance at the moment?
Yeah, so that's a really good question, because banks were in a position where they were trying to navigate this completely new world. And they've been busy training their staff and making sure that people have got the skills and knowledge to assess these opportunities and assess the risks. Obviously, on the back of COVID and the economic crisis that sort of we face, banks are more risk averse, but I think we're now seeing them opening the doors more to sustainable investment. I think this will gather pace in the future. In terms of the other source of funds, the investment funds, private individuals, pensions, they're being driven much more now into sustainable investments, particularly in Europe and the States, which is great news.
One of the big issues we have here in the region, maybe not so much here in Abu Dhabi, but certainly in the region as a whole, is financial inclusion and financial literacy. Is sustainable finance a vehicle to help with those issues?
So financial inclusion and making sure that future generations, but that assets, including financial assets, are preserved for future generations is an incredibly important initiative and is relevant here as it is in many other parts of the world. And there are a number of projects that the Abu Dhabi government, through their social enterprise, have embarked upon to support people, to enable them to make better financial decisions and to protect their assets for the future. So this is growing in importance, and indeed today there's a big announcement set which builds on these projects and builds on the work that's been done to provide support for a larger number of people.
And I mentioned blockchain there. I mean, it's obviously part of a much wider fintech and digital transformation of the finance markets as well. Again, is that a great opportunity when it comes back to our original definition of sustainable finance?
I think fintech is a fantastic opportunity, and blockchain is part of that fintech environment. We've seen in Abu Dhabi the evolution of digital banks. Who'd have thought that? The traditional banks within the region are busy transforming themselves digitally, but there are also huge numbers of opportunities for small startups to play a part in the digital transformation. And that, I think, is signs here that an ecosystem is developing, encouraging young people to get involved in fintech, which is fantastic.
And do we see that through more students taking finance route when it comes to education and higher education?
Certainly, there's a mixture of the sort of finance skills that you certainly need to be able to understand the world that you're trying to support, but there's also real push towards entrepreneurship, and I think that's equally important. Young people need to be able to sustain the businesses that they're putting in, so they need those broad-based skills to start businesses in that space.
You mentioned the word opportunity there, and I know you travel around the world with the London Institute of Banking and Finance team. In terms of this as a region, great opportunity here when it comes to sustainable finance?
Absolutely fantastic. There are a myriad projects that are being funded by the government. And from those large-scale projects, huge opportunities for smaller businesses to contribute in research, in consultancy, in supporting individuals on their own sustainability journey. Fantastic opportunity.
Dubai Eye 103.8.
Join the conversation.